Okay, so now we're going to solve general applications of percents. So anytime you see the word what or which or something that refers to a question, you need to automatically be thinking that you're dealing with a variable. So anytime we see what number, we're going to let that be x. So what means x. The word is, anytime you see the word is, that means equals. Put an equal sign here. If you see a percent, all percents need to be written as decimals. The word of means multiply, always. Okay, so anytime you are reading these, you need to write them in the order that you read them. So, what number means x. The word is means equals. 35%, remember all percents need to be written as decimals. So I'm going to write that as 0.35, or you could put a 0 in front of that, 0.35. Of means multiply. Now I'm going to use multiplication with a parenthesis instead of using a dot or an X. So I'm going to write it like this, of 90. Okay? So now you look and you see, is there anything else I can do with the X on the left-hand side? And there isn't, so I'm just going to rewrite it. And now on my calculator, I'm going to type in 0.35 times 90, and I get 31.5. Okay, so take a second and type that into your calculator and verify that you do get the number 31.5. So what this means, what number is 35% of 90? So 31.5 is 35% of 90. Okay, for this number right here, again, we don't change how we do things. Let's read it from left to right and write it down as we come to each part of the sentence. So 125% I'm going to write as a decimal, so 1.25. Of means multiply. Again, I'm going to use the parenthesis to indicate multiplication here. The number 28. Is means equals. What number means x. So on my calculator, I'm going to type in 1.25 times 28. And I get 35. So we knew that because it was more than 100% that the number had to be bigger than 28. And 35 is definitely bigger than 28. So 125% of 28 is 35. Okay, so we're going to translate and solve this one. Again, I'm going to read it from left to right. So I'm going to put 36. Is means equals. 75%, I'm going to write that as a decimal, 0.75. Of means multiply. What number means x. So now this time we've got 36 is equal to 0.75 times x. So how do I solve for x? Well, this operation right here implies multiplication, right? And how do you undo multiplication? You undo multiplication with division. So I have to divide by the number that is in front of the variable. And what you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do the same thing to the other side. This is where you need to grab your calculator and make sure that you are getting the same answer that I'm getting. Because if you type this in backwards, you will get the wrong answer. You have to type in the top number first, then your division symbol, then the bottom number. So I would type in 36 divided by 0.75, and I get 48. X is equal to 48. So what that means is 36 is 75% of 48. Okay, so this problem, 6.5% of what number is $1.17? Now don't forget that on this problem we're actually dealing with money, so our answer should be some form of money. So 6.5%, I'm going to write that as a decimal, and 6.5% as a decimal is 0.065. That's that right there. Of means multiply. What number is X? Is means equals $1.17. Now, notice again I'm dealing with a multiplication problem. I've got 0.065 times X equals $1.17. So in order to solve this, I have to divide both sides by the number that's in front of the variable. So on my calculator, I'm going to type in 1.17 divided by 0.065, and I get 18. So X is equal to 18. Now what does that mean? That means that 6.5% of 18 is $1.17. And since I'm dealing with money, this 18 also needs to have a dollar sign in front of it. So right here is my final answer. 6.5% of $18 is $1.17. Okay, for this problem, what percent of 36 is 9? What percent means X? Of means multiply. 36 is means equals 9. And keep in mind that we are allowed to multiply in any order because of the commutative property. So this could be 36x is equal to 9. So how do I solve for x? I now have to divide both sides by 36. So on my calculator, make sure you type it in right. 9 divided by 36. 9 divided by 36. And I get 0.25. X is equal to 0.25. Now, have I answered the question? The question actually says what percent. Notice that I don't have a percent here. I have to scoot my decimal to the right 2 places. So actually my answer is 25%. So 25% of 36 is 9. Okay, 144 is what percent of 96? So let's write this one out. So I've got 144, that's that. Is means equals, what percent means X, of means multiply. 96 is going to go inside here. And remember, because of the commutative property, I can write this as 144 is equal to 96x. In order to get my x all by itself, I have to divide both sides by 96. So on my calculator, I'm going to type in 144 divided by 96, and I get 1.5. That's not my answer, though. So this question is asking us what percent. So in order to get a percent here, I have to scoot my decimal to the right 2 places. Notice how there's a valley here with nothing there, so I've got to put a 0 in that spot. So this is equal to 150%. So 144 is 150% of 96. Okay, you might want to hit pause here and read through this. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to give you just an opportunity, or you really need to hit pause to read through this. It's a good idea. Okay, so on this problem, a couple enjoys a dinner at a restaurant, has a bill of $68.50. They want to leave an 18% tip. If the tip will be 18% of the total bill, how much should the tip be? Okay, so you want 18% of the total bill is your tip amount. So 18% can be written as 0.18 or 0.18 of means multiply your total bill, which is $68.50, means equals my tip amount. So on my calculator, I'm going to type in 0.18 times $68.50. And I get $12.33 is my tip. Now, what if the question had said, what is the total amount you will leave at this restaurant? So you would then have to take your $68.50 and add your tip to it to get your total bill, which is $80.83. Keep in mind, they didn't ask you what you would leave totally. I'm just adding that in, so just keep that in mind. This is the only part they're asking you for right here in this question. Okay, the label on Maceo's breakfast cereal said that one serving of cereal provides 85 milligrams of potassium, which is 2% of the recommended daily amount. What is the total recommended daily amount of potassium? Okay, now I don't know if this is true or not, so don't take this as something that you really should follow for health reasons. This is just for this problem only. So 85 milligrams of potassium, which is 2% of the recommended daily amount. Notice they're asking us, what is the total recommended daily amount of potassium? I'm going to let X equal my total recommended daily amount of potassium. Okay, so 2%, that's 0.02 as a decimal, times my total recommended daily amount is 85 milligrams. So this can be written as, and then in order to solve this, I have to divide both sides by 0.02. And on my calculator, I type in 85 divided by 0.02, and I get 4,250. Now, what does that 4,250 represent? That is, remember up here I defined it, my total recommended daily amount of potassium. So I'm going to label this as milligrams of potassium. Okay, so Mitzi received some gourmet brownies as a gift. The wrapper said each brownie was 480 calories and had 240 calories of fat. What percent of the total calories in each brownie comes from fat? So what percent means, I'm going to let that be X, of the total calories, of means multiply. What's our total calories here? 480 is my fat. So this is the same thing as 480x is equal to 240. I'm going to divide both sides by 480. So on my calculator, I'm typing in 240 divided by 480, and I get x is equal to 0.5, but that's not my percent. I've got to scoot the decimal to the right 2 places, and I get 50% of the calories comes from fat. So 50% of the calories comes from fat. Okay, in 2011, the California governor proposed raising community college fees from $26 per unit to $36 per unit. Find the percent increase. Round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So first of all, we need to talk about how much is the actual increase. So 26 is our original, and 36 is our new. So we're going to subtract those two, and so we're talking about a $10 increase. And so now we want to talk about $10 is what percent of the original price of $26. So 10 is X, that's my what, of 26. And remember, this can be written as 26X. So I'm going to divide by 26. On my calculator, 10 divided by 26 is, and I get this big long decimal. Look at this. This is what I get on my calculator. Okay, so I want to round this to the nearest tenth of a percent. So first of all, I need to move my decimal 2 places. Then I want to round it to 1 decimal place. But I have to look at this number, and if it's 5 or greater, I've got to round this number up 1. So it is 5 or greater, so 38.5% is the amount of the increase. Okay, and this problem is done in a very similar way as the last one. Average price of a gallon of gas in one city in June 2014 was $3.71. The average price in that city in July was $3.64. Find the percent of decrease. So we're going to do the original minus the new to get our amount of decrease. So it went down 7 cents. And so now 7 cents is what percent of, and you always go back to the original amount. So writing this out algebraically, I would write is X for what percent of, and this can be written as, and now to solve this, I'm going to divide both sides by 3.71. Again, be careful what you type in first on your calculator. 0.07 divided by 3.71. And I get another long decimal. So here's what I get. Usually it's a good idea to round to just 1 decimal place. So let me show you what I get on my calculator though. Okay, so again, if I only want 1 decimal place in my percent, first I need to scoot my decimal to the right 2 places. Then I need to round that number right there, and this one is 5 or greater, so I would say that this is approximately 1.9% decrease.